Welcome to Get Mad. Today we have a special interview. We've got Tim Nelson, Dr. Tim Nelson. And Tim is someone I know. So he had a really odd thing happen to him the other day. He was in Dunkin' Donuts, and this man was kicked out of the Dunkin' Donuts because he overstayed his welcome. And I'm like, overstay your welcome? How does that even happen? Have I ever been kicked out of a Dunkin' Donuts for overstaying my welcome? I've sat in Dunkin' Donuts for well over an hour. And let's talk to Tim and see what happened. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, it was the first day of snow in New Mexico, and, you got to get these roads. I knew that I couldn't just keep the same tires on that I knew I needed to change a few months ago in the summer. So I went to the Firestone, I think it's St. Francis or something, and it's right next to Dunkin' Donuts, which is perfect because, I'm a college professor, so I've been in college forever, and where do we go? To the coffee shop, and stay there for hours. And I knew I would be some hours because they had to change the tires, and they also had to change the lights. Well, while I was in the Dunkin' Donuts, I saw this beautiful cemetery, and like you said, I have my PhD, so I'm excited about this thing that could be uncovering history, and I don't have much to do.
Right, because so me, we're both historians.
Right.
Historians.
That's how we met up.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, anybody who's gone to college or even pretty much high school knows you're going to go sit in a Dunkin' Donuts and or any coffee shop while you're, and then so this makes sense. This is just a normal day.
Normal, right? So I'm in the Dunkin' Donuts. I see it, and I start taking pictures through the window, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go outside and I'm going to take pictures of the cemetery. And so as I'm taking these pictures, because my Instagram I use to teach, I use it as part of my curriculum to kind of emphasize, to talk about Black history, Africana studies, and so on. So I take the pictures in there, and I'm ready to post them in Instagram, and so I use the Wi-Fi. So I go back into the Dunkin' Donuts. So I'm enjoying my time, drinking my coffee, my donut, and everything. I'm charging. And then I get a call from Firestone after, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. And I go into the Firestone, and then they show me that, they give you the can I show you something? And it's like, but anyway, so what they show me is my front light is somebody just rigged it to make it, work. And so they couldn't use that. So they had to buy a new yada, yada, yada.
Right.
It has to stay there another day. So guess what? I have to get a ride home.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So now I'm calling my friend, but I'll just go to the Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
So I go back to the Dunkin' Donuts, and I go to sit down. I didn't buy a coffee that time because I'm going to sit down. I'm going to tell them to come get me. Then I was going to go get my coffee.
Right.
I didn't get a chance to go through that. I was going to buy another coffee. Like I said, I've been in college forever, and coffee is like the fuel, right? Like it's in our veins. I put it in an IV. So I'm about to get another coffee, but I got to do this and call my friend or whatever. And then this person comes up very rudely. We don't do that around here. You can't stay here all day, yada, yada, yada. And I don't remember the rest of that. It was so rude that the natural anger just rose to the top. And instead of me reacting, because I am a Black man and this is a smaller framed woman, older, I got to be respectful anyway, elders, yada, yada. So, all right, I already have this camera in my hand. Why don't I just go to the counter and ask her again as politely as I can? So you're saying we have a 1 hour rule at Dunkin' Donuts. Can you please tell everybody that? And she knew I had my camera because I had it in my hand. I put it down and I said, so now can you say it? And then when she said it, I was like, okay, no. I want to hear this again. And I taped it twice. So then I left. And I said, you know how she's calling my name? Because I am Timothy Nelson. I am Dr. Timothy Nelson. Make sure you tell that to the police.
Right.
I made sure to tell them now I was doctor. Because,
oh yeah,
she's already called the police. And I said, tell them I'm at Firestone, because they had just, so I went into the Firestone, and that's when I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wonder if she really called the police. I'm like, nah, she didn't call the police. Right. So again, I'm on my phone and I'm trying to looking at my videos, and then I see the police through the window, and I'm like, oh shoot, let me just turn on my video. Right. And so I turn it on, and I don't put them on because I don't want, I'm not saying that they're doing something wrong. It's their job, right? Right. So I put it on me so you can hear my conversation. And then I go, this is a teaching moment. All right, cool. I make it home. Now see, I'm with the police, so I'm thinking I got to get home to pick up my daughter from middle school.
Right.
Teachable moment. I got the video, no reason. All right, look, cops, I'm gone. Get in my car, head back to go get my daughter. And I say, this is a teachable moment. I pick her up and I hand her the camera, and I say, look, you just go ahead and turn this on, put it on me, and we're gonna have a conversation. Basically, I gave her the talk that everybody talks about, that Black parents have to give their kids. Right. And so that's on, and I put it on her Facebook. I mean, I control her Facebook, so it's not like her. Anyway, so I put the conversation there, and then that's kind of how the media picked up on it, because they realized that I wasn't trying to be in there to do anything except have a teachable moment, because I'm a trainer in interdisciplinary, intersectionality training, diversity training. It's what I did at the YWCA in El Paso, the largest YWCA in the country. I wrote the curriculum. If right now you put in #RaceDoesn'tExist in YouTube, you'll find a lot of the curriculum that I was using. So you could see that I wasn't there to do anything, but I did know the circumstances that I was under. Right. That's why I had the presence of mind to video it.
And here's what I find just really, there's so much that's wrong with this scenario. We all know what it's like to have something wrong with our car. And, you take your car in and you park it. And let me tell you, when I get my tires changed, I go down to, I think there's a Wendy's that I go in that's close to where I go. And I sit in that Wendy's until they're done. And that's been a couple hours sometimes. And I've been, if I'm, I've been sat in Cracker Barrels or wherever it is you sit. And so we've all been there, done that. And why is it that when I'm reading some of the things, some of the comments that people had to say on the news article that was on TV, and they had posted it, and I think it was KRQE. Is that the one that interviewed you yesterday? I believe.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm reading these comments from people that say, well, why didn't he just stay at the Firestone? Don't they have a waiting room area? And I'm thinking, why would you have to? Why would you have to do that? I don't have to. We all go around. And so when I'm looking at this story and I keep seeing this stuff and people are saying, well, the only person talking racism is you. And I'm thinking, that's the problem right there. The problem that we have is these people that are saying, he's a Black man, he's got to stay in the Firestone. But anyone
in his
else,
place.
yeah. So it's not, and then it's not racism. You're the man who has to tell his daughter and teach the teachable moment. That's not, and this whole thing, whether anyone wants to talk about it or not, smacks of racism. It smacks of racism.
It does, and I'm just, New Mexico is better. I think on a lot of issues, New Mexico is better, but the way that racism works here, it's a little bit different, but it's still racism, and that's the part that I'm trying to get people to really have that conversation. That's all I want. Right now, I'm not asking for nothing except a conversation, because Terrence Crutcher, his car broke down in Oklahoma, and he's confronted by 3 police officers the same way I was.
Mm-hmm.
Has kid, same way I do. 41, same way I am. Big football player, phenotype.
Right.
I could have ended up dead the same way he did. And that's the way I'm looking at this.
Yes, and it just takes a moment, and and that's the thing.
A moment.
Yeah, just a moment, and and you look at so many of these situations when they take place, and it makes me think back to when shortly after I got out of the military, and my husband and he stayed in the military. We were stationed in the middle of San Francisco Bay when it was a Navy base there. And a friend of his that worked with him came home, and he had a Volvo. He was an African-American man. And he gets stopped.
You know I have a Volvo, right?
Oh, no, I did not know you have a Volvo. I didn't pay attention, I guess. But so they stop him, and they pull him out of his car because a black man could not own a Volvo.
Oh.
And he's on the ground, and he's like, and I'm like, okay, this is the sort of thing. So it's just a little thing. What? A black man can't sit in a Dunkin' Donuts for over an hour?
Especially not with dreads and the coat he wore when he was in service to the country.
Right. Because again, you're a veteran.
The coat made him look homeless, or that idea is in their head. I'm like, yes, but it also has my name on it. Why not thank me for my service and give me an extra hour?
Yes, exactly that. And then
thank you for my service.
Right. And that leads us
Mexico National Guard. So I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. And it leads us into the second thing, and that's that not only are you an African American man, but you're also a veteran, and both of those things, it's this certainly being a veteran should be a step up from anything, but
at least an extra hour.
yeah, a free coffee in an extra hour. Right, exactly.
I'll pay for the coffee. Just give me an extra hour. I got it,
And in this case, it was just till someone comes and picks you up. So I think that starting the dialogue, talking about this in New Mexico, because it is here, and we do see it at left and right, and it's not just in New Mexico. It's not just if you're white on African Americans, but if you're Hispanic on African Americans, I mean, it's a problem.
That's what I mean by it's a little bit more complex,
right?
So people are like, oh well, it's not racist because they're both minorities. No, that's not how this works.
Right.
That's not how this works in the borderlands. In the borderlands, you have forces that people are fighting for, and it's white supremacy over here. It's like you're fighting for a force, and you may not even look like the force that you're fighting for, but you're fighting for it. And that's kind of how it ends up, where you have brown people that's cool with kids that look like they did in cages, and they're like,
right,
come in legally. That's ridiculous. Where is our humanity? But I don't, that's my soapbox. I'm gonna get off of it, but kids in cages, come on.
Right.
So I'm getting off topic, I know, but I'm just saying it's a part of the racial construction of the borderlands that could even happen.
Right. Exactly. And like you said, there's so much more that needs to be discussed and that needs to be drawn out. And I know that is the class that you teach right now, is it on racism, or is it?
Well, it's Africana Studies. It's an intro survey class, so it goes from antiquity to the present.
Okay.
Week course, so it's pretty hot and fast paced. So
right.
It's through the lens of race. So now, instead of us having to consume all of the dates and times and that kind of stuff, we're looking at how race develops over that time. And like the next question that they'll be asking is, what came first, race or slavery? And that's a pretty common question in the in the field. So that's so I'm directly dealing with it. And so by week 6, I'm going to be talking about civil rights. And so again, we're talking about racism. So I get a chance to bring in the videos from this incident, so that they can look at it and see it as something that is not something that happened 50 years ago, 100 years ago, but it's happening now. But how are these things related? You know, that kind of discussion question. How are these two things related when it comes to race and racial construction in borderlands? Yada, yada. You know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I get that. And it looks like we're just about out of time here. So I want to thank you for coming on the show. Again, I want to state again to my viewers that I know this man. I know Dr. Timothy Nelson. He's a historian, as am I. And he didn't go out looking for a fight. He's not the kind of guy who's going to go out looking for a fight. Next time I see you, I'm going to buy you a donut. It's not going to be we'll find a different place, maybe Rebel Donuts. I don't know.
It has a longer stay that we can have, you know.
Yes, and a much longer. We'll buy a box of donuts and stay.
Right. Is it an hour per donut or just, you know?
That's it. Okay, so thank you for being here, and
thank you.
And thank all of you for watching today. And this is where racism and donuts intersect on Get Mad, and I will be